Hello everyone, this is James from Tin Robot Games, and today I'm going to show you how to play Queen of Scots, the card game.
Resistance to fun is futile.
The Queen of Scots card game plays 2 to 5 players, takes between 20 and 60 minutes, is based around the theme of Mary Queen of Scots' life. Each player can gather points by matching sets of cards, placing them on the table, and counting them towards their score. First person to 1,000 wins the game. So let's get started. Take note of the point value on each of the cards, as indicated in the bottom right hand corner. At 100 points, we have Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth. Next, we have the Skye Terrier at 20 points, as well as the wild cards. King James, the Executioner, and the 2 castles are each worth 10 points. All the remainder cards are worth 5 points. You'll also note in the bottom right hand corner of each of the royal family members, there's a crown above the coin. This is a quick reference to let you know which cards are actually part of the royal family. Additionally, the reference cards that come with the game also indicate which members are part of the royal family. Take these 4 cards out of the deck and use them as reference before you play the game. The mechanics of the game are as follows. You need to make sets throughout the game. Cards in your hand are not part of sets. To form a set, place 3 or more of the same card on the table on your side of the board. In this case, with this particular hand, we have 3 John Knocks that can be placed down on the board to score. I also have 2 Executioner cards which I can place down with a wild card. Two wild cards and an original card do not make a set. You must have at least 2 original cards in any set of cards you place down on the table. In this case, 2 wild cards and the Executioner would not be valid. At any time during your turn, you may add to a set you already have on the table. Wild cards can be added to any set, and multiple wild cards can be added to the same set. Finally, the royal family are the only exception to placing sets down. With the royal family, you can mix and match amongst the cards. In this case, you could put down the 2 queens and King James. Another combination could potentially be 2 King James and 1 of the queens. Alternatively, you may place a wild card down with any 2 originals of the royal family. We're now ready to go through a mock hand. To start the game, choose a player to deal the cards. Deal 11 cards to each player. Place the deck in the middle of the board and flip over the top card. The game is now ready to begin. After this round, the deal moves to the left and to the left of that person, and so on and so forth in a clockwise motion. Likewise, turn order goes in a clockwise motion, beginning with the person immediately to the left of the dealer. Let's flip these cards over to see what each player has. Since I dealt, my opponent goes first. At the beginning of your turn, you must pick up a card either from the top of the deck or from the discard pile. If you pick up the card from the discard pile, you must take the entire pile. In order to pick up from the discard pile, you must have 2 versions of that card in your hand, not including wild cards. Since my opponent does not have any Nicholas Throckmorton cards, they must pick up from the top of the deck. They can make a set. In this case, they have the royal family. To claim the points at the end of the round, they must have this set in front of them on the table. They must now discard a card. On my side, I have a James Hepburn, but I only have 1. It does not count to include a wild card, so I cannot pick up this pile. If I wanted to, I can match up my 2 David Rizzios with my wild card to place a set on the table. Because the value is low, I'm going to save this wild card to a later point in the game. I must now discard a card. I've picked up the Skye Terrier. Since it's worth 20 points, I'm going to match it up with my wild card to create a set. My opponent actually has 2 John Knox cards, so they can pick up the pile. They must take the entire pile. The pile goes into their hand, and they must place the top card that triggered them picking up the pile immediately. They've picked up James Hepburn, which they can match with their other 2 cards and form a set. They discarded a card that I can now pick up. I place a set down immediately that I've just picked up. It's fairly safe for me to discard this card. Since they already have a set on the table, it is highly unlikely that they may have 2 cards still in their hand that would allow them to pick up that pile. It's not impossible, but it is unlikely. They've made another set. I can pick up the pile again. Oops, they can pick up that card now. Looks like I can pick up the pile again. They've now got the last card they need to end their round. The rules dictate as follows. At the beginning of your turn, you must pick up a card from the pile. You then place your sets, and you must discard at the end of your turn. The only exception to this is if you can finish your turn by placing all your cards down in front of you. In this case, they're able to do this with the Executioner. This round is now concluded. It's time to calculate our score. Any cards that are still in your hand count as a negative. Let's put those aside for now. Any cards you've placed on the table count as a positive score. Let's count it now. I have 20, 40, 60, 5, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, counting using the coins that are indicated in the bottom right hand corner. In my hand, I have 20, 40, 5, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. 105 to the positive, 70 to the negative. My score, therefore, is 35. Let's see how my opponent did. Wow, my opponent really did well this hand. Let's count their score. 100, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200, and 10, 20, 5, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. My opponent's got 250. Grab a piece of paper and write your scores down. It's time to shuffle the cards. Now let my opponent deal to me. This is the last rule to make note of. What happens when a wild card is turned up? Whether a wild card is turned up or a player decides to discard one, the rules are the same. You must have 2 wild cards in your hand to pick it up. In my case, I do have 2 cards to pick it up. In order to pick up a wild card, first take your 2 wild cards, show the other player that you have them, which allows you to pick that card up. I now pick up that wild card, but I must play it immediately. I can either play it with a set, in this case Fotheringhay Castle, or if I didn't have a set, but I did have the 2 crown jewels, I could put it down with those. I have a set of Fotheringhay Castles, so I could choose to play it with that. Or, if I didn't have any cards to match it with, I could put the 2 wild cards I used to pick it up down with it. Either way, that card must go on the table immediately. This is the last rule to remember. Continue playing rounds back and forth, taking turns dealing, until one player reaches 1,000. If two players reach 1,000 on the same turn, the player with the higher score wins. So there you have it. That's Queen of Scots, the card game. I hope you enjoy playing this game as much as I have my entire life. I learned this game from my grandmother, and she in turn learned it from her parents. Now she turns 102 on May 11th, so we've chosen this date to launch our Kickstarter campaign. I hope I can count on you for your support. If you like this video or any of the other videos on our channel, please hit the like button down below. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. For more videos on Mary Queen of Scots' life and how this whole card game came together, please check out some of the other videos on our channel. Once again, this is James from Tin Robot Games.
Resistance to fun is futile.